Good evening, folks. Red County, Blue Nation, West Cliff, Colorado. Great conglomeration of the United States of Americans. Stephen Rorick, Mike Boring's here tonight with me on the phone. Jimmy had some stuff going on. He's got a Great Pyrenees puppy that he's had for, it's not even a year old, but something's the matter with it, and might not be long for this world, so he's spending some quality time. So we got the duo over there taking up Jimmy's mic.
Dynamic duo.
Yeah, speaking of Mike, how are you this evening, sir?
Doing pretty well. Just starting to thaw out from the little bit of snow we got there. How about yourself?
Yeah, good. Most of the snow's gone now. There's still some snow up in the higher part of up towards the mountains, but all the snow here and the lower elevations all melted off, and it's all going in, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, buddy, we need it.
Yeah, it's pretty dry, really. I mean, the low ground is saturated, but the rest of it needed a drink pretty bad. So
yeah, man.
If we can keep the wind away from us for a couple months, that'll be good.
Well, you know how it is when the sun's shining, the wind's blowing.
Well, it's pretty much the way it is, I guess. But.
Seems.
But yeah, so I was checking it out about Trump talking about his executive order. Would be Executive Order 14286, enforcing common sense rules of the road for American truck drivers. This order mandates stricter enforcement of existing federal regulations requiring commercial drivers to demonstrate English proficiency.
That's a plus.
Yeah, it's like, well, isn't that the standard? I mean, we'll get into a little bit later into the discussion about how diversion or equity and inclusion, division, equity, inclusion, or whatever the hell it is. I mean, it's good in one sense, right? I mean, variety is the spice of life, but yet, like, this is our country and we speak English, right?
Well, and hopefully you can read English, because you got road signs and,
Yeah, especially when when you get into unless you got GPS on your phone that's strictly in Islam or whatever. I don't know how they get around, but I mean, it makes sense to me. I mean, I don't know how we ever got away from that in the first place, but yeah, they're talking about the key requirements. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that I think I was reading that in New York that they were, letting illegal immigrants get licensed. I think is what I was reading.
Well, yeah, because I think that has something to do with being able to vote too.
Yep, they're trying to get them in there to vote.
But yeah, the key requirements under this executive order. Under this executive order, commercial drivers must converse with the general public, understand highway traffic signs and signals in English, respond to official inquiries, and make entries on reports and records. I mean, when you pull into the gas station and you need to go inside, I mean, it helps if you can understand when the cashier tells you how much money if you want something to eat or drink or all that stuff. But
I mean, that sounds like a common sense law to me, right?
It sounds like a common sense law. Just not to get off the subject, but I actually was looking on one of your TikTok things and it popped up, and this guy's like, yeah, there must be something wrong because they're selling these earbuds that will translate like 130 different languages in real time.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, so you just are wearing this earbud and it'll tell you
Yeah,
in
it's
your
like
language what they're saying.
sci-fi, right?
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
crazy.
that is crazy to do it in real time. I mean, a second or two lag, I can see that, but to do it in real time, I mean, it's like, it just seems a little like Spanish, right? The subject comes at the end. What little bit I know about Spanish, the subject comes at the end of the sentence instead of the start of the sentence. So
Yeah.
how can they, but nonetheless. So yeah, these requirements align with the federal motor carrier safety regulations, specifically in 49 CFR 39.11B2. And the timeline is a 60-day window. So by June 27th, they'll have to be able to speak some English, or you won't be able to get out on the road. And I mean, like you said, that's kind of the common sense law, right? I mean, how can you even read what? I mean, I don't know that. How can you even tell what the shifting pattern is in the truck if you can't read
Well,
English?
sometimes you got to communicate with other drivers, and I mean, this is America, and most Americans speak English. Just like if you went to Spain or some shit, you best know your Spanish, right?
Right.
I mean, if you can't read Spanish or understand Spanish, I mean, I've never been there, but I'm sure they probably don't have the, road signs and everything in English as well as Spanish, or whatever. It's like, geez.
No, because I mean that's just that's not just yourself involved there, right? I mean that's you have other people's well-being and liability involved with that. So I mean,
Yeah, 100%. I mean,
there's a lot going on there.
yeah.
Yeah, the Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance has voted to include English language proficiency in the out-of-service criteria. This means that drivers who cannot demonstrate the required English skills may be placed out of service. So if you can't speak to your teacher in English, he's going to be like, no license for you.
Well, and if you can't speak and understand English, I mean, how are you going to understand what the actual laws are? Because, I mean, our laws are a lot stricter for safety purposes here in the U.S. than, out in Bangladesh or fucking Afghanistan or something, right?
Right. Yeah,
out there, it's like, just try not to kill somebody and you're good to go, right?
Yeah, I mean, commercial driver's license, there's a lot to that. I mean, it's a whole nother step up than what an individual driver's license is.
Yeah.
But so the supporters, organizations like the American Trucking Association and the Owner Operator Independent Drivers Association, support the order, emphasizing safety and effective communications on the roads. I mean, that's like what you were talking about. It's like, I mean, I've driven quite a bit of semis, but I never have been where I had a CB, right? I never had a CB. So, but like, if you need to talk on the CB or whatever and you can't even speak English, how are you supposed to communicate?
Uh-huh.
And then some of the critics say some industry members express concerns that the order could displace current drivers who are otherwise operating safely but may not meet the heightened language requirements, potentially impacting the nation's supply chain. And then they wonder why they're going with driverless vehicles.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, and maybe it comes down to that, if there's so many of them that are taking these commercial jobs, well, it's, what the fuck's wrong with the Americans that should be, doing those jobs? Is it that everybody's just sitting around collecting a check for doing nothing, or
Right.
I don't know. Seems like there's an awful lot of people unemployed that can't find any damn jobs, but sure as shit, a lot of illegal immigrants that have a bunch of jobs, right?
Well, yeah, and they probably are more motivated to get a job. I mean, I don't necessarily know. I mean, I know part of it. Part of it's American. You know, Americans are spoiled. The rest of the world, they don't operate like that. I mean, they still have to
Well, you know,
hustle.
and we've been led down the path of destruction with the pandemic and all that shit that a lot of small businesses and everything else and people's jobs out, fucking out of, out of commission. I mean,
Yep. Yeah. The
you know,
pandemic is it. It's changed reality. I know that. I'm trying to get my driver's license renewed, and um, now you have to make an appointment to go see the DMV. And so I tried to make an appointment, and it's like a month away. I'm like,
yeah,
so if they try to hassle me that my driver's license is expired, it's like, well, yeah, because I can't even get an appointment with y'all. So
yeah, you gotta get your appointment in Gunnison or something.
yeah, when that was just in Canyon, right? So I mean,
That's where I look is instead of going up there to the Springs, I try to go to Canyon City because there's like less wait time.
yeah, yeah, it's pretty insane actually, but the world is changing, and I mean, we all know that we have to change to, you know, if you can't change, you're going to fall behind. But yet, at some point too, right? I mean, if they're just forcing you to change, what are they forcing you to change to, right? Are they trying to get you
Yeah.
more robotic, right? More less organic, all of that, more compliant.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and how much easier it is to make people comply when you've replaced majority of all these jobs that robots can do. They replaced all the humans doing these jobs and put everybody on a universal income or some crap. Where now it's hey, you don't get your check, you don't get your food, you don't get your shots, you don't follow the rules and stay in line.
Yeah. Well, that's
I think that's a real reality we need to be aware of because especially with everything, monetary systems moving to digital and all that kind of stuff and quantum computing. I mean, everything's going online and digital where it's that much easier for the system to control folks.
yeah. Go ahead and elaborate a little bit with the quantum computers.
Well, just I mean, they
Tell
say they can do.
tell us a little bit about them. Yeah.
Well, they say they can do computations that today's supercomputers will take them 10,000 years, and this quantum computer is going to do it in 10 seconds or something. I mean,
Well, yeah, and weren't you telling me too that they're pulling? I mean, it sounds kind of sounds sci-fi to me, but weren't you telling me that they're pulling all these other computations from?
Well, that's why it's a quantum computer because they're operating on a quantum level, which totally pulls them away from being subject to laws of physics and things in this reality and dimension. And so they're saying that this thing's so fast and operating on a quantum level, which is basically almost like another dimension, to where time doesn't exist. And this is where they get to all the string theories and all the other kind of stuff where they're saying that this thing is doing computations and pulling information from alternate realities and multiple dimensions. But it gets even more scarier than that. The engineers are talking like it's almost as if kind of like Chat GPT, the AI that people are getting used to. There's stories of it, being able to replicate itself now and this and that. Well, I mean, you get one of these things going in the quantum world, the quantum computing. I mean, you're talking about something that could, take over the whole system. I mean, and you talk about Elon Musk and his whole, brain implants.
The Neuralink.
Yeah, Neuralink, and you think about these controllers that we have being linked up into these neural links and then into the quantum computer, because it's only the richest suckers that have these things right now, just like any other high-end technology. And as we know, the people that control this world and the systems and everything else are the guys that control the money. I mean,
Right.
So you best believe that the systems of control are coming into play, if they haven't already, on the quantum level. And I'm sure that, the whole monetary system, all that kind of shit will eventually be put out onto that whole network. So I did read that China, I believe it was China, was able to do some kind of quantum, I don't know, was it quantum? I don't think it was quantum, but just a super high level of, internet and broadband capabilities that, shit, I forget what it was. It was something like 1,000 times faster than anything that we even know about as far as for internet, but they can run it on the same lines. I'm like,
Oh.
yeah. And so I'm not sure how all the whole quantum, system works, but I believe it's, from what I read, is that they have quantum modems, that are set up and that kind of thing, just like we have modems for Wi-Fi or for, our current internet and that kind of thing. But with the quantum, I believe you don't even need any cables or, wiring or anything. I mean, it just goes like through the ethers, kind of like Tesla and his whole free energy kind of, thing.
Yeah, man. Well, there's definitely a lot of technology out there. I mean, we know that they're trying to dumb us down the best they can. And so, I mean, if you just keep that in mind, you got to know that there's a lot of stuff that they keep hidden from us.
Well, and that's what happens, I believe, on a group conscious level, as we get dumbed down, the more we go into technology, the less we rely on our own technologies within ourselves to do these things. The more we rely on outside of ourselves, the dumber we get, That's the kind of the sad thing about that, but.
Yeah, well, one thing about it, it is what it is. It ain't nothing more and it ain't nothing less.
Well, and, if you believe in the cycles of cycles, and we've had, even more advanced civilizations on this planet than we are right now in the past, and it always comes back around, it always goes back to Mother Nature. Mother Nature cycle comes around and scraps that shit,
Right.
Takes it all back down to the building blocks, the stone, and that's why, if there's something from past civilizations that they want to pass forward information to us, it's usually in a natural form of, crystals or, pyramids, stone structures, this kind of stuff that will, no matter how advanced the civilization is, they use these things to try to pass the information on because they know it'll stand the cycles of time. And when the technology falls away, what's left? Well, everything goes back to Mother Nature, right? Same thing with the humans and everything else. I mean, might get to those technological heights, but at some point it all gets dropped back down and everybody's got to learn how to do the shit again.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that kind of fits with part of the next discussion about how the left, the globalists, the trans cult, the Islamist, how they all kind of fit together with the transhumanist. I mean, that's part of how the whole distraction of how we're basically getting pitted against each other. And really what's going on is they're basically taking all our freedom just because we're arguing amongst ourselves in the name of, well, you guys can't get along, so we'll just take everybody's freedom. That's essentially what's happening to us.
Yeah.
I was watching an interview. They were talking about, it's super controversial, right, folks? Because, I mean, Islam fundamentally would never support trans or gay or any of that, right? I mean, their fundamental whole thing about their, I mean, what
yeah, they'll hack your head off.
yeah, they're talking about Islam says man-made laws is oppression. Man-made laws is oppression. So, like, they think all the only thing is Allah or whatever, but yet, if you look at it, 97% of Muslims worldwide vote Democratic, left, or globalist leaning. So, I mean, they're all on the same side, even though. And so you'd listen to this. What was her name? Ihan Omar. She's trying to say that the country should be more fearful of white men. They should be profiling, monitoring, and creating policies to fight the radicalization of white man. And they go on to talk about how.
Well, there's probably some truth in that, but yeah.
But very.
On our team.
Well, yeah, because I mean, they say that according to the interview I was watching, they say white males are the second lowest crime rate class, with Asians being the first. So, and really what they're talking about is how that goes into neo-communism, right? So communism before 1989 was all about your class and financial economic inequality, right? That was the whole kind of the foundation of communism. Now this new neo-communism from 1989 on goes, it's about divide and create inequality, and they're going to revise racism against whites based on an idea that there's an oppression and oppressor and the oppressed. And it's race.
It's all about division,
yeah, race identity and identity politics. So whatever.
That's the only way they can beat us, man.
That's the only way they can beat us. Yeah, the old communism thing never it wasn't legit. So that's really how this whole link together between the New World Order, Islam, the trans cult, the pedo cult, all these people are trying to break us down with that kind of that race division.
Well, it's all the control systems, one of the strongest ones is the religious, control system. And, unfortunately it was fucking divided. If you want to take it all the way back to biblical shit and the Tower of Babel and all this kind of stuff, I mean, yeah, when everybody gets together, we make shit happen, and you keep everybody divided and fighting. I mean, fuck, nothing gets done except for money's being made and blood's being spilled,
Well, and that's
the whole satanic fucking shit, right?
Well, and that's what they're talking about, talking about how the ADL paints anti-Semitism and pro-Hitler. So anybody that's against the New World Order, that's what they try to call you, is that you're anti-Semitic, which, I mean, it's so controversial because you're right there. Okay, if you don't stand up for the New World Order, they say you're anti-Semitic, but yet that they're basically siding with the Muslims. 97% of Muslims vote Democratic. So, I mean, it's all just a huge hodgepodge, merry-go-round to try to stir up the pot.
They say it's the exact opposite of what the fuck they're saying. And yeah, and so you've got everybody doing the exact opposite of what they're saying, and everything's just going around the circle, right?
Yep.
But, you know, I mean, but it's war, right? It's war and division that lines the pockets. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
that's the big business. And, you know, you get into the kind of metaphysical side of things. Anytime there's war and there's bloodshed, and that blood and that fucking life force energy seeps down into the planet, and all that aggression and negative energy is with it, man, that poisons the fucking planet. It brings the energy down. That's what they want. You know?
Yeah.
It's like a mass sacrifice, basically.
Yeah, that's well, that would be the negative energy and control for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I thought that was. I mean, that's such a deep subject. A guy could go on about it for a long time, but you know, the whole fact that, I mean, they think they're better than us. They've been taught from the start, and yet we have these trans people or whatever, the super far left, saying, well, we need more, we like Islam, we need more Muslims. It's like, don't you understand that they think you're an infidel and they want to cut your head off? They don't feel the way about you that you feel about them. So
yeah, and yeah, so the bottom line is that the only logical explanation is that the people that are fueling these, which are the same people, just to cause confusion and division and yeah, just negative shit. Right?
well, yeah, and so that's back to why maybe it's good if the truck drivers speak English.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've got teenagers out on the road and shit. Man, I mean, it'd definitely be more comforting to think that there's, you know, a little more regulation on the road of who can get a damn license, you know?
Right.
Especially to just the logical point of let's make sure that they can understand and read and write English. I mean, shoot.
Yeah, I mean, being able to understand the controls of your vehicle and the road signs is a huge thing.
Well, yeah, and if somebody's like, you know, hey, slow down, they're like, oh, did he just say speed up?
Right.
Shit.
Allah says, speed up.
Yeah.
No, so yeah, I mean, I mean, basically what they're doing is just, they're trying to divide us and all in the name of, I mean, really what they're trying to do is strip our freedom. And that's what they are doing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just,
Well, the game's over when everybody stands up, right? But not everybody's going to stand up at the same time if everybody's pitted against each other, right?
right. Well, yeah, and that's, you know, just like my dad, we're trying to renew his driver's license too. And so how could he do that without me? And I'm not no technological genius, but I mean, I can get on my phone and schedule an appointment with the DMV. How would he don't even know, he don't know anything about a computer and don't want to know and is not going to learn. So like without some assistance, how is he supposed to maintain his position in society? And so
100%. And they're trying to push people to the smartphones too, you know, because if they have the smartphone, then they know that they're in your life. You know, they're listening, fucking recording, you know.
well, they're listening.
I mean, it's, you know, they don't want you out of the system.
No, it's a it's a mess. But yeah, so when I asked ChatGPT about it, it says no, that's all conspiracy theory. They say Muslims, their fundamental core belief is not with the trans people, and it's like, yeah, it's not, right? So it's like,
Well, yeah.
but yet 97% of them vote Democrat, right? So I mean, where do you?
That was the Christian and Catholic way too, until just like a couple of years ago, where then all of a sudden the Pope came out saying, "Oh no, we were wrong. It's all fine to you know. I'm not going to get into the details, but, you know, it's all fine for, you know, dude to be with a dude. Maybe it was, you know, Larry and Steve on Adam and Eve, right? But, well, it's like, come on, man. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it. I don't know. Just a lot to it.
There is.
Yeah, a lot to it, and I mean the main thing is to understand where you're at, folks, in this world, and what. I mean, that's why you have to have beliefs, right? If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything, and I mean that's why you have to have, you know, that inner continence. You have to have values. You have to have ethics. You need to have all that stuff so you can navigate your way through the deception and the lies of this world.
Yeah, I think a lot, you know, most people are okay with, hey, you know, if this person wants to be gay or whatever, hey, that's all good and dandy. But, you know, the problem is that pedophiles and, you know, all the freak, you know, freakier shit that gets in a demented, fucked up deal is like they've attached themselves, you know, to the whole gay bandwagon and everything, and they're trying to push to try to normalize, you know, the whole pedophilia and the whole shit. And what a perfect time to do that when you've got all the heads of, you know, state and government and shit that are all going down because of, you know, they're out on Epstein's Island and, you know, doing all this corrupt pedophilia crap and you know, trafficking children, and I mean the whole fucking 9 yards. It's like, well, of course they're trying to push to get everything normalized, you know, with that kind of crap. And it's like, how could you even think that shit's normal, you know? I mean, anybody that's trying to normalize that shit ought to be, you know, drug behind the truck, some kind of shit. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's sick, that's for sure. It's what Jimmy says. It's perversion to the highest degree.
Highest elite, all the elite. Yeah, that gets into the straight satanic shit, man. I mean, you know, especially getting into the whole adrenochrome and, you know, the child trafficking and all that stuff. And it's like, my God, man. I mean, these are straight up evil ass fucking people that are running the show. And all the agendas that they're passing down, believe it, it's all about control and dementing mostly the younger generations, because that's what holds the future, you know.
Yeah, well, that's it. They ain't going after the older generation. They're going after the younger.
Preying on the kids, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's.
They've got everybody so wrapped up in fucking survival mode that they're fucking poisoning the kids, you know.
That one part of that video I was looking at, the big old trans rally or whatever, they were shouting, "We're here, we're queer, we're coming for your children."
Yeah, what the fuck?
That's what they're chanting. We're here, we're queer, and we're coming for your children. Like,
yeah, you're gonna be on the wrong end of a fucking Smith and Wesson or Louisville.
yeah, just a straight ass damn. Yeah.
Oh, it's terrible.
Now it's about as twisted as you can get. No wonder that. No wonder that the higher deities have to step in from time to time and flood us out and
rain down the fire and brimstone.
Yep. Yeah, because I mean, you know, all a guy can do is fight against it and understand what's going on, and you know that's what we're trying to do is explain how the connections work together here. But yeah, otherwise, I mean, it's pretty hard for one or two or three or even one or two or 300 people to. I mean, you got to just kind of band together and keep fighting it day after day after day because there's no other option.
No, and it's definitely got to start in the small community level, Um, families taking a stand and families banding together with families, and next thing you got communities banding with communities, and I mean that's the only way I think you can fight that shit.
No, yeah, that's like Jimmy says, it's kingdom against kingdom.
Well, and then at a certain point, hey, the cycle is that Mother Nature, Shiva comes and does the dance of destruction,
Yep, separate the chaff from the wheat.
That's it. Time to hit the reset button.
Yeah, buddy.
But in that reset moment, people have the opportunities to, expand and grow from that kind of process too. It's not all doom and gloom.
Well, no, that's the whole,
You know,
what we talked about, repent, right? I mean, once you figure out what's going on, change your evil ways. That's the only way out.
Yeah. No, that's the only way. Light and love, man, will always prevail, but that doesn't mean you're not going to get fucked around by the darkness.
Yeah. Yeah, or try to get extinguished. Well, with all that being said, then, so I was looking at another video. They were talking about these guys called in and they were like, yeah, we called the EPA chemtrail hotline. And they say, well, there's no scientific evidence that there's any chemtrails.
Well, that just sounds like a bunch of shit, because I know that the chemtrails have been addressed in Congress and everything else. There's been fucking laws, executive orders, all that kind of shit surrounding these chemtrails,
Yeah, well, that's the
like,
EPA for you.
Yeah. No, 100%. And and that's the same thing. It's like you can have different agencies in the government doing this and the others are doing that, and it's
Well, and I mean, I know Trump's trying to do a lot of good stuff, but I hope that he, gets his economic plan together before the midterms. So, I mean, we kind of got control right now, but if we lose some of these key seats, then we won't have control anymore, so we won't get none of this stuff done. So,
well, best case scenario would be that we go ahead and just start locking all these suckers up, that we found them, doing all the corrupt shit. It's like, I think a lot of people are waiting and saying, hey, when the hell are these arrests going to happen here? We've seen the evidence. We've seen all the bullshit. These people that have been robbing Americans and,
yeah, and that's,
it's like, come on.
yeah, and that's the thing, like, Pam Bondi and Cash Patel and them, I mean, I know they got a heck of a bunch of stuff in front of them, but it doesn't really seem like they're getting much done to me. I mean, I haven't watched real close lately. I know Pam Bondi's catching a lot of grief for not getting anything done. Can't get the Epstein files. Oh, we got them all locked up in a secure Democratic server in New York, and like, really? Why don't you go over there and take it back? Like, we
just done all this shit, right?
Get a couple 300 or 400 of these people who they're swatting, swatting all these people from InfoWars and all that kind of stuff. Take them up there and go get that stuff. Oh, well, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing is, I think they're starting to feel the influence, at least some of them, of the system, right? Whatever you want to call it. And I think when people's families and shit start getting threatened and this kind of shit, I think people start backing down a little bit, whatever.
Well, yeah.
But
oh yeah, when you're after your life financially and the well-being of your people that you associate with, your family members and your friends and your colleagues and all of that.
Yeah,
you got to be
to take a stand.
Yeah, you got to be pretty convicted to say, well, I'm ready to die on this hill, right? This is where I'm ready to make the stand, which most
Yeah, you're
most
ready to
people,
sacrifice everything.
yeah, most people are not at that point. And I mean that's I'd like to think that sometimes I am, but sometimes I'm not, right? I mean, I want to hopefully get to where it works itself out, not just die for nothing, right? Die for something that's foolish when a guy could have, if he would have played his cards different, he could have maybe succeeded in his end goal, which is righteousness. Which, you know, I mean, it's righteousness to die for the cause you believe in too, but I don't know, you know,
Yeah,
that's just a complicated balancing act.
yeah. I mean, it was a concentrated act by a whole bunch of people at the same time, it might be a different story. But if you're just gonna stick your neck out and fucking get slammed down and screwed, then not everybody's ready to stand up. You're probably gonna get the shit smashed out of you.
Yeah.
I
Yup.
mean, that's. But how do you get people to stand up? I mean, number one, you got to bring awareness to the problem, and once there's awareness, I mean, more and more people are going to say, you know what, fuck this.
Yeah, the awareness that I was watching an interview with Dr. Jane Ruby. Mike Adams was interviewing Dr. Jane Ruby, and so she had sent him some. From my take on it, she lives in Florida, and she has a garden, and her garden is on the lower level, outside, but inside is screened, like a screened-in porch. So it's not just open air, right? I mean, it's screened, right? So the bugs and stuff can't get in there or whatever, or at least the big ones. And she had plastic hoops over her tomato plants. Well, she could tell there was something funny going on, so she cut this plastic up and sent it to Mike Adams. When they put it under 2,000 power microscope, man, there's all kinds of heavy metal,
Oh yeah.
parasites, funny mold, all that stuff. And these eggs, they incubated these eggs. They say this is rolling in off these funny fogs, these funny fogs that people have been seeing.
And it leaves like a film of like.
Yeah, leaves this
Yeah.
film. Well, so they incubated this stuff. I mean, this stuff comes to life, right? And it's not just,
Oh,
you
boy.
know, there's spores and mold and all of that stuff flying around all over the place, but not like this, right? And
There's some funky shit going on.
it's really funky. And I mean, that's part of what the whole chemtrail deal, you know, these aerosol sprays, all in the name of we're going to protect you from man-made climate change. Like, I mean,
I mean, anybody that's over 40 years old, or, I mean, fuck, unless you're brain dead, you know damn well when you was a kid you didn't see all the fucking chemtrail, patterns going across the sky, the grids and all that kind of stuff. It's like, fuck. Never saw that shit until it got into like the 80s, late 80s and that. I mean, I don't know. I used to study a lot about them chemtrails and that, and was posting a lot of information out, like in the late 80s, like early 90s, and I had people contacting me, telling me there was like this lawyer guy contacting me up there in Washington. I mean, and he had all that shit tested and everything too, and it was, just full of heavy metals, aluminum, strontium, and all that kind of stuff. And like I was saying earlier, I forget what year it was, but it went through the whole Congress and everything else, and they actually came out and said that they were laying down these trails to increase telecommunications for the military. That by putting these particles into the air, that it was making the radars and all the bullshit systems and everything work better, right? So like, oh, this is for your safety and this and that, you know.
Well,
But
yeah.
then, you know, you've got Bill Gates talking about fucking, hey, we need to, you know, geoengineer the planet and all that kind of shit, and running over all these scenarios. But it's like, they might be running over the scenarios and this and that, but they've already started, you know. Look up shit.
Yeah, they if you listen to Dane Wigington, that's geoengineeringwatch.org, folks. Geoengineeringwatch.org. If you get on there, he's got all the proof on there. They're putting out 23 million ton of nano aluminum particles in the air every year. And it's becoming to the point where people are like, well, yeah, there's aluminum in the air, like that's the way it's supposed to be. It's like, no, that's a heavy metal, right? And aluminum, if you know about, if you have a good enough chemistry understanding, aluminum has a -3 valence, right? It's bound it always wants it to attach to something, right? It doesn't just fly around in the air naturally. So I mean,
Well, it's killing our plant life and everything because acidifying the soils.
marine life too. He says 90% of the marine life's already dead.
Yeah.
A lot, the small stuff.
No, you start messing with the pH balance of life and shit goes south.
I mean, it's hard to figure how 90% of it could still be dead and we're still all here. But I mean, geoengineeringwatch.org, folks. Dane Wigington. I mean, there's some stuff on there that, and now, I mean, they used to have them aerosol injectors on the planes. Now they just put it right in the fuel. It goes right through the turbines, right? It's in the fuel itself. You don't have to have a separate mechanism to try to spray this stuff. It's right. It comes out right out the exhaust of the fuel.
That's crazy.
Yeah, well, that goes back to, I think this is a real critical point of it all. Like talking about them parasites and that stuff that's so small. Of course, it's all respiratory, right? I mean, you're breathing it in, and so it's, when they incubate that, they're doing that with like what would be in your lungs, right? It's 90 some degrees and humid and dark, and this stuff thrives extremely in them conditions. And so if you have a real good immune system, your immune system can probably take care of it, or at least work on it pretty good. But if you've had a vaccine and you've had the mRNA treatment some way or another through the vaccines or whatever kind of different manipulation that they're putting this stuff through, just like the ticks, when you get a tick bite and then you're allergic to red meat, right? I mean, that.
Well, and then if you're eating toxic, poison food and not eating clean food and stuff like that, and it's all going to.
Well, yeah. So I mean, we know the food is in bad shape, but I guess really where I was trying to connect the dots is like if your immune system is compromised, and then they hit you with these aerosol stuff. I mean, you're going to have a hard time overcoming that, right? You're getting bombarded on too many levels. So yeah,
Well, yeah, then you wonder why everybody's so damn sick all the time, right?
Well, and irritated, and brain dead, right? They can't.
Yeah.
I mean, I even see it in myself. I can't think nearly as quick and as fast as I did 10, 15, 20 years ago. I think a big part of it, man, is when I moved to town and I started drinking town water. It made a big difference for me. And now I don't drink town water anymore, but it's like, is the damage already done?
It makes up 75% of your fucking system. I mean,
yeah, not to
foundation, right?
Not to get after Round Mountain again, but They lied on every other level, so why wouldn't they lie on that? Yeah, tell us about Woodland Park and their water test.
Yeah, they were lying to us too. And got lead in the water, and they're like, oh yeah, they were behind and even sending in the testing to the government until they started bitching about it. And they missed the I guess the date that they were supposed to have the test filed and this kind of thing. And so then they sent out some letters to everybody talking about, oh, you want to make sure you're running your water, to flush it out of the pipes, so you're not putting the water that's been sitting there into your glass and drinking it. It's like, what the hell? So I mean, yeah, they lie to everybody everywhere about about it all,
Yeah, there's a website too that you can look up all them water testing. I mean, even for here for Westcliff, it had all kind of bad stuff in it, and I can't remember the name of that website.
Oh man, yeah, I should know the name of that one too. But it's been a while since I've been to that one. But yeah, you can find just about every water test for every municipality or whatever.
Yeah, you got arsenic and all kinds of stuff. And that's not even talking about PFAS chemicals or dioxins.
Oh man,
That's just heavy metals.
I just keep seeing all these online ads for lawsuits for PFAS, testicular cancer, fucking bladder cancer. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah.
They've already won these lawsuits.
Well, yeah, that's why
they've already been ordered to pay, and so they're just like
6,400 they've already settled. That's a lot of lawsuits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was trying to read there the other day if anybody's actually come up. If you combine like 3 of these technologies, then you can maybe get most of the PFAS chemical out, but there's no one certain technology that can remove it. And here these guys around Mountain are trying to tell us like, yeah, we got the cure. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, if you guys had the cure, you wouldn't be trying to do it here in Westcliff.
Yeah.
You'd already.
I'm sure they do have the cure, but do they want to share that shit with us? No.
Well, sometimes I mean,
I knew that one guy here maybe 5 years back, that was a scientist up there in Denver area, and he was building big ass ionizers, for commercial use that was cleaning water and breaking that molecule, the oxygen from the hydrogen, and that was releasing, the toxins and all the shit out of the water. And I mean, that was years back, and everything this guy did, it was all just government contracts and shit like that, right? So I know they're aware of it, and I'm sure they fucking have the technologies to clean it, It just comes down to they don't want people to be healthy, They want you to be sick. They want you to be part of the whole medical system,
Well, that very well could be. I mean, there's so much demand for money that, I mean, it seems hard for me, though, to keep something like that under wraps. You know what I mean?
Well, sure, but it's like the cure for cancer. How fucking much money have everybody donated and poured into the whole fucking let's fight cancer when you've got people that are beating cancer all the fucking time, With plant-based medicine and energetic medicine and things like this, which all go hand in hand, it's like they don't want people to know these things, I mean, that's why they throw motherfuckers in jail. These cancer treatment centers that actually fucking cure people, they fucking throw them out of the U.S., Like, get the fuck out of here. It doesn't fit with our system. It's tough to get shit done around here,
It's tough. It's tough.
pay the most, in our whole medical system and everything around the damn world. It's like, pay out the fucking teeth just to put a Band-Aid on the son of a bitch and cut the wire to the check engine light,
Right.
Pump you full of fucking pills that are going to give you 20 different side effects and keep you sick. Well, that's another fucking control system there,
Yeah, it's a mess.
It's a mess, but the good thing is I believe it's all coming out to the light, and everybody has the opportunity to be aware now what the fuck's actually going on, They got everybody by the balls. Well, at least the majority. Those that can get themselves out of the systems, or at least partially, be way better off.
Yep. Yeah, and all that takes is money. I mean, or you have to have resources of some kind. You can't just get out of the system because you want to.
Yep, so true. That system's been being built for so fucking long, man.
Yep. I mean, it's if you think you want to eat clean and you don't have any money, good luck with that.
Yeah, right. That's for damn sure.
I mean, I guess
you get into a good community where, you might be able to trade your services for some good food, and
you might be able to. I mean, that's I know them communities are out there, but I think they're few and far between. And ultimately, at the end of the day, I mean, without resources, I mean, if you don't have energy, if you don't have food, if you don't have clean water, which, it's hard to get clean water without energy, right? I mean, there's a certain amount of resources that it takes to be, I mean, you can wish all you want and say, well, I'm going to do as Jesus did and just walk around this world and all of that. And I mean, I know it can probably be possible, but boy, it is not very likely.
Well, you're going to need some protection too, because as you're stepping out to live clean and all these other things, the controller's going to take notice and they're going to try to beat your ass down.
Well, yeah, all you got to do is when you're walking along the street with no car and you got no shoes on and you're scroungy and all that, and then the cops bother you, then you get thrown in jail and you can't get out because you don't have no money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a well-designed system on their behalf, that's for sure.
Oh no, it is, and it's the funny thing about the system is we voted ourselves into the fucking system just by being brainwashed and fucking controlled,
Well, and
it's
I
like
mean,
we all brought it to this point.
That's the thing too, is it's like, I mean, I know about all that, but it's like, I mean, what do I struggle with every day is trying to be financially in a position where I can get away from it. And you can't get away from it without finance, without resources. I mean,
and the more resources you have, that kind of pulls you back into the fucking system too. So it's kind of
you got to know how to spend it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hopefully it takes a little divine intervention there.
I think the thing's been going on for so long that's usually what it takes.
Fire and brimstone.
That's right.
Well, buddy, I appreciate you filling in this evening, and
yeah, man.
Send a prayer out to Jimmy and the white dog Pearl and Jimmy and JoJo. And it's a heck of a deal to get a puppy that age. And I want to kudos to Kim Heath as well. She's a sweetheart. She's been helping us with the emails and stuff, and she don't have to do that at all, right? She does that because she wants to, and deeply appreciate that. Also want to put a deal out there. So the local 4th of July fireworks, right? So between myself, Brian Klintz at Antler Liquor, and Josh Martin at Martin and Tope Real Estate, we've taken it upon ourselves to do the 4th of July fireworks. And so we run specifically only on donations, and it's pretty expensive, folks. I mean, the insurance is $3,200 for like an hour and a half. And I mean, it's getting so hard. I mean, we really kind of gotten lucky and sort of got in there. I mean, whenever the fire department quits doing it, and it's like, I mean, the liability alone, right? If something goes wrong, even though we have, a nonprofit for donations, which it's called The Mortar Men on Facebook. That's where our donation page is. I would encourage everybody to please donate all you can. There's local drop boxes all around town, dollar or two. I mean, our prime sponsors, we get some people that'll donate 1,000, sometimes maybe even 2,500. Our goal is 20,000, right? It takes about 20,000 to kind of get where we need to go by the time we pay the insurance. And I mean, them fireworks are expensive. We got just the bottom of a trailer load last year. I mean, that was like
more expensive this year too, right? With the
yeah, with all
tariffs and
yeah.
all the bullshit.
Yeah, so I mean last year we had like 12,000 worth or 12,005 or something like that. I can't remember exactly worth of fireworks, along with all of the other stuff that we have to, like I said, the insurance and all of the stuff that we have to, and it's all just because we are patriots, folks, right? So, I mean, for me to take the liability personally to light them fireworks off, I mean, I've been advised not to do that, but I mean, we have to stand for something, and I would rather, I'm surely not scared, but I mean, it's still the risk, right? If something would go down, and I mean, we don't have the big ones like the 6-inchers that have the red phosphorus or whatever that will burn right through a metal roof and just incinerate your whole house, light your whole house right on fire. I mean, we would be liable for that, right? So if something goes wrong, we're personally liable. And so, I mean, in today's world, Sue Happy world, most people won't even begin to take that kind of liability. But so, yeah, like I said, 3 of us, Brian Klintz, Josh Martin, and myself, we are the Mortar Men, The Mortar Men on Facebook. That's where you can donate. I think there's a Give, Send, Go or GoFundMe, as well as a PayPal. All donations are welcome. I mean, anybody that wants to donate a sizable amount, like $1,000 or whatever, we sure want to make acknowledge that, right? We normally put an article in the paper afterwards, thanking all of our premier sponsors. So yeah, just try to keep our traditions alive. I mean, the fact that the fire department can't do it or won't do it anymore because of the liability. They won't let us have it out at the Lake Deweese anymore because of the liability with that. And I mean, there's only, if I remember right, the class we went to, there's only about like 35 to 45 licensed pyrotechnicians in the state of Colorado that can light them big ones off. And so, I mean, that is not very many people at all, folks. And we just stick with we just are using the smaller ones so we don't have to have the ATF and the CBI and all of these extreme qualifications. I mean, once again, this is all just for free, right? Why would I spend 10 grand to try to go get schooled to set off fireworks for Westcliff for free, right? I mean, we don't get paid a thing. We do the best we can. We have a gentleman that has a big fireworks store in Texas that helps us out with that. We sure appreciate him. He treats us the best he can, which we really appreciate that. We've done that 2 years in a row. This is going to be our 3rd year. I hope that we can have it this year with the fire band. If not, tentatively, we're planning on, if that doesn't work right, we'll hold them funds and have that for New Year's Eve. It is the talk between the 3 of us. We haven't decided that. I mean, these guys were talking about as soon as the fire band went off, they wanted to light them up, but I I made the comment. I said, it would be nice to have them out on the bluff, like at the park, New Year's Eve, where you could light them up. By 6 o'clock, it's dark enough. Normally in the summer, you got to wait till almost 10 o'clock before you can start lighting them off. So there's a lot of, it's summertime and people don't have to go to school and all of that. But a lot of people by 10 o'clock, that's their bedtime. So I just thought it would be kind of nifty to have a fourth or a New Year's Eve show. If we could get the donations, we'd talked about having a New Year's Eve show already, but it's about all we can do. Like I said, we're trying to get about 20,000 together. I think last year we had 15, 16,000. I don't keep track of that exactly. Brian keeps track of all that stuff, but with the additional cost of the fireworks and a little cushion there for the rise in the insurance and all of this, we're hoping to raise 20,000. So, that's a pretty good strain on this little community, but, we're also sticking our own necks out there. It's not just for fun, right? It is just for fun, but we're doing it because we're patriots, because we love America. 4th of July is really that's what, if you're a real American and if you love America, right, then that's what fireworks. It's symbolic of our love for our country.
Celebration of our freedom.
Celebration of our freedom, and like I said, we stick our neck all the way out on the chopping block and take the responsibility, the liability if something goes wrong. So with that being said, we sure would appreciate everybody that can donate whatever they can donate, if it's a couple bucks or a 20 or a 50 or 100. They used to have the collection cans out when they would go out to the lake, they would collect at the lake when you were going in there. Anybody that has ever been to the fireworks at Lake Deweese, that's what they did. We don't have any of that opportunity. First year we had it at the water towers above Silver Cliff. Last year we had it at the open ground there between the dome and some of the housing there. That's an open field that we beat down real good and wet that down with the fire trucks, and we had fire trucks all the way around it. This year we're not sure what we're going to do. I like the idea of the dome. I think that's at the dome parking lot, I'm going to call it. That's a good secure location to defend. But from my understanding, Josh has been talking with Jeremiah Coleman some at the fire department, the fire chief. I seen him today, but I didn't have a chance to talk to him about it. He said he kind of liked up at the fire tower, up at the water towers. The problem with that, what we had the first year though, is I was the main guy lighting them off, and Josh and Brian are down there trying to stomp out all these fires all up and down that hillside, and it's steep. You can't get the brush trucks to it or whatever. So, we can definitely put a better display on up there because it goes higher in the air, more people can see it. But in my opinion, it's a harder position to defend. So, every week we're going to talk about this. Them guys did an interview this morning. They forgot to call me, and I forgot about it, but on the local radio station. So, 4 times a week they're putting out. So, yep, it's The Mortar Men on Facebook. All the donation information is right there. The Mortar Men on Facebook. So, appreciate you all, folks. Well, you got any closing comments, buddy, or?
I don't. Just so important to make yourself aware of everything that's coming to light these days. With these systems of control, and it's. How can you not be aware now of at least some of them that's been going on, especially with all the government stuff that's been coming to light.
Well, and that's part of it too. Just talking about it, right? In my opinion, is a major.
That brings awareness. Talking about it.
It does, and just.
Even just talking to your neighbor about it or some shit. Hey, did you see this shit or da 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 da, you know, and then
That's a big first step, because I mean you can't ever do anything about it if you're not aware about it. So I mean we're all downtrodden, we're all oppressed with this system that we're in, and it's financial, right? I mean they're putting the financial system on us. If you're not, if you got plenty of money, most of the time you're so brainwashed about it, and you're so self-centered and thinking that you're better than everybody else.
yeah, that you're not even giving a
Yeah,
shit about what's
you
going
don't
on
care
with
about it.
everybody
So
else.
yeah, I mean they got the upper hand here, folks. So yep, just talking about it. I mean, it's not like we all need to try to save Rome in one day, but it's these small little steps, and it's the awareness. So every time that you talk about it with one of your friends or your family members, or your spouse and your loved ones, and tell them, I just, I mean, there's a difference between bitching about it and then realizing what they're doing, and maybe trying to get a plan of action about how you might make small steps. It's just like drinking
Well, we got to counteract it by teaching our kids. I mean,
Yep.
to take note and say, hey, this isn't normal what's going on here. Hey, kids, this is the reason this is going on. I try to explain it to my kids all the time. I'm like, hey, I don't give a shit what they're telling you in school. Listen to me. This is the real deal, and this is why.
Yeah, don't use toothpaste with fluoride in it, folks.
Exactly right.
Right?
Yeah.
Filtered water. I mean, these are critical elements that are not big, super expensive, high energy, high money things, right? They're small, subtle changes in your lifestyle that amount to huge change over time. So with that being said, we appreciate everyone and wish you all have a great night.
Have a great night.